Hey you guys, it's MJ and welcome back to Pet Adventures again. In this video, I am quickly just going to discuss a requested topic. Someone brought up, well I think maybe one or two people brought up a few subjects about how to convince your parents into letting you keep certain animals or letting you keep animals the way I do. When I just basically collect a bunch of animals, and I thought it was a really cool topic that I think a lot of kids should be kind of trying to understand, because a lot of parents, I mean I know a lot of you guys are, some of you guys could be adults, but I think most of you guys are young, and I know that it's hard to start keeping pets when you live with your parents and they may have certain restrictions. So I kind of want to be clear on this topic and what I think of it. And I'm going to discuss some really great ways into convincing your parents into letting you keep animals, and I'll also be discussing some benefits into keeping animals as well. Now I know a lot of the reasons, well, one of the number one reasons why a lot of people do not let, parents do not let their kids have pets is because there are certain restrictions that they have set for you. You must keep in mind that most of the time I think your parents are just thinking that you're not ready, and in some ways those parents are a lot better than the parents that I used to see at the pet store. They would just go get a fish because their kid wanted it, and they themselves would not take care of it, let alone would the kid take care of it, and that would just result in a lot of animals' deaths. So, you know, there are certain animals that I think any kid can take care of as long as they have the right mindset, around the right age. And obviously you need to have really good parents that are going to be there for you if you need them. That being said, you should also not let your parent completely take care of the animal. If you really want this animal, you really need to show your parents that you are going to be the main one to take care of it. I do think that your parents should play a role into certain things, like if you need to take them to vet trips, paying for a lot of the expenses basically. And I do think that even if you're really responsible, you may not want to bother your parents with certain things, and please do not let that, don't be discouraged by that. You should let your parents know when something's up with your pets and you need to take them to the vet or anything like that, because, you know, that's really the smallest things that they're going to be doing. For the most part, you need to be the one feeding them and cleaning them and interacting with them. You should never leave that up to a parent, I don't think. If you really love the animal and you really want the animal, you need to show them that you'll be responsible for it. One of the biggest things I would recommend is when you're trying to get a pet, I think that it's best to show your parents that you're going to be completely responsible and mature about it. There are lots of ways of doing this. One of my subscribers actually told me that this actually ended up working, I think, for them. But a PowerPoint is a great way to show that your parents that you're going to be responsible and that you've done a lot of research. Make sure that you've done so much research that your brain is just completely filled up with all this research that you're knowing about a certain pet. So once you've done all the research you possibly can, you can always present it in a PowerPoint, or you can present it in a folder and some papers, some care sheets that you've printed out, and things like that. You really need to just do lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of research here on the internet, and just kind of figure out also, is this pet going to be right for you? Another thing that you need to be doing is, before you even bring up a lot of the subjects to your parents, try to get them to take you to the pet store if you can, or any kind of local pet rescue, pet store, whatever you can get your hands on. Try to see if you can interact with this specific pet that you want. Because honestly, what if you do actually end up proving to your parents that you could take care of this pet, but then you actually end up getting the pet and you don't really like the personality of the pet, or you don't really feel it, you know? Because it's different when you interact with a certain pet that you like than when you see it on the internet. Some things, like, for example, I thought that I was going to love having corn snakes, and I'd done all kinds of research on them, and then when I eventually met a corn snake, a fully grown corn snake, I wasn't that into the personality as I thought I would be. So I ended up getting a ball python, and that ended up changing my mind a bit, and that really helped see that I really could see myself taking care of this kind of pet instead of the other. So also interact with the pet 101 if you can. Convince them to take you to pet stores every now and then and see if it's really right for you. Next is, after you've presented your folder and your PowerPoint, if that really isn't working for them, I think that, first of all, I want to say when you do present that kind of stuff to them and they absolutely say no, it's not going to help if you get mad at them and get into a fight with them. That's not going to solve anything. The only way to really prove to them that you want this pet and that you're going to be responsible, just don't flip out, be completely mature about it and say, okay, I understand. You can be mad, don't get me wrong. If you are mad about the subject, I do not blame you. You can completely be mad. But in front of them, you need to show that you're taking the whole situation responsibly, because they're still going to see you just as a immature little kid. Not that you are, but they're going to see you as a immature little kid if you're kind of just throwing a fit about it, if you know what I mean. In their eyes, that's what they see, I am guessing, so just be very, very subtle and just try to be calm about the whole thing if they do say no at first. Remember, sometimes it can take a few attempts. I've honestly never had this problem, so I am not speaking from personal experience, but I have gotten other people's stories before. See, the thing is, my family, they actually encouraged me to start taking care of pets. Like I said on my live stream, I think, to you guys, me and my family, we have all been keeping dogs and cats and a few little other animals since the day, like since I could remember basically, we've been keeping animals. There were lots of pets in the house before I was even born. You know, my grandparents, they took care of animals. My mom has always taken care of animals. And you know, like, I think my mom now, even, she doesn't live with me, she lives somewhere else, and now she even has, I think, 2 cats. I think it's like 2 cats and a dog. No. Yeah, 2 cats and a dog. And anyways, you know, it's just like, it runs in my family, I guess. We can't really be without pets, but I would say I definitely took it to the extreme when I got older, and yeah, anyways, you see where I'm going with it. Another thing is, you need to show them that these pets that you really want, whatever the pet may be, you need to get your parents involved. If they don't like the animal themselves, then they're not going to really want it in their house. So very, very subtly and slowly, I would try to get them to adapt to these pets. Usually the pets that parents aren't really okay with are reptiles, especially snakes, you know, sometimes lizards, and they're usually not okay with rats, things like that, mice, little things like that that people just fear. Tarantulas, you know, even though we know they're not really, they're not harmful in any way, not really, they don't know that. All they know is what they've seen in movies and things like that, and they've probably never interacted with these animals. So you need to try your best. If it really can't be done, I understand, but if you can get your parents a little bit, you know, week by week, month by month, you know, however long it takes, try to get them to interact with these pets at the pet store with you. Because, you know, if they get involved and they kind of realize how cute and cuddly or nice and sweet these animals can be, then they're going to be, you know, less skeptical of the whole thing. Now, another tip I would recommend is, once you've kind of done some of those things, when holidays come up, your parents most likely are going to ask you what you're thinking about getting for your birthday or Christmas, or maybe like a graduation present, I don't know. They'll probably be, you know, thinking of little things that you want, and you can always bring up the fact that you want like a corn snake or a rat or a hamster, whatever it is. Bring it up when they ask you, or you can even bring it up in other conversations. You know, I can't really think of anything right now, but if it somehow ties into a conversation, you can kind of bring it up in a way. This will kind of constantly remind them in their mind that you really want that animal and that it would make you very, very happy. Now, if all of these things have worked, you are going to have to realize how do you keep up everything once you've actually gotten this pet? Because if your parents start to see that they finally got you this pet and you're not really responsibly taking care of it, who knows, they may not really want to buy you any more pets. They may be more skeptical about getting more pets. They may even want to take the pet back. I don't know. So you don't want to disappoint them at this point. You want to try to honor the things that you have said to them. So the main things that you want to be keeping up with, like for instance a reptile, is always make sure their heat, whatever the heat source is, make sure the heat is always you know, at a good temperature, and make sure it's on long enough. Like I said, do your research. Feed them as much as they need, depending on whatever animal it needs. You know, look up all the healthy things for them. You know, just really try to get this pet to thrive. And I think that once your parents, or you know, whoever you're living with, has seen that you've been taking care of this one pet, they're probably not going to have too much of a problem with you keeping other pets. Now, that being said, you can't do everything. I know that it's really hard for some parents, or whoever is helping you. I know it's hard for them because they do have to pay for the expenses and stuff like that. But I do think that every parent should be involved in their kids' lives when it comes to pets, because there are some expenses that you just can't pay for on your own, and you're going to need a vet. I think that it is very wise and very, like, I think you have to just tell your parents when this pet needs to go to the vet. You know, if they can't do it, I would recommend getting a job. If they really can't pay for taking the pets to the vet, I would recommend getting a job if you can. I'm not saying you have to go out and get it, you know, but if you really care about the pet, if you're old enough, I would recommend getting some kind of part-time job just to be able to pay for any expenses that may come up with your pet. Basically, since I started taking care of a lot of pets, once it started getting really, really bad, I had to start thinking of my pets first, and I ended up getting a job that didn't pay too bad, but you know, things came up and I did have to end up taking them to the vet sometimes. Also, a very important thing is they're probably eventually, if you're trying to collect as much pets as you can, like I do, they're probably gonna have a limit. So go all the way to that number. Let's say they say you can only keep 5 pets. If you want to go to the max, get 5 pets, but don't go and get more, because if you go behind their back and get something that, you know, like it was just too many pets and, you know, they don't like it, you know, don't go behind their back and get another pet. Even if you know you have the space for it, maybe they don't like it, you know. And, you know, who knows, they may tell you that there's a limit, and then they may eventually come around and say, hey, maybe you can get one more, you know, you never know. If you really try earning their trust and respect about the whole animal keeping, then trust me, it's going to help so much. So just try to get through their rules. Also, one very important thing that I think you should be mentioning to your parents is that if you take care of your animals on your own for the most part, it actually teaches you responsibility early in your life, which is probably something that I'm going to be doing with my children in the future. I'll probably get them taking care of animals because, number one, it teaches a kid to learn compassion really, really well. And it teaches a lot of responsibility at an early age. So, you know, not only will you be responsible for pets, but you'll be able to just learn responsibility early in life for anything. And I've noticed that keeping pets my entire life helps me have a lot of compassion for pets in general. So, you know, if I see like a hurt animal, you know, out in the wild, I try to help it. So just tell your parents, like, hey, if I start keeping pets, I'm going to be learning responsibility really early in my life. Also, keeping lots and lots of pets will eventually, at least from my experience, encourage you to get a job, which is also a source of, like, it's a bit of trying to learn to be independent and also having responsibility and, you know, working and getting out there. So, don't get me wrong, no, I'm not going to make a video on this, you know, it's kind of a whole nother thing, but working in retail can drain you. And it's not all that it looks to be. It's not that much fun usually, at least from my experiences. but sometimes you kind of just have to tough it out. And what's great about retail jobs is they're, you know, you can lose them easily and just get another job until you find one that's a little bit less draining and things like that. So you may have to go through a series of jobs, but what's great is they're easily throwawayable. So if you're looking for a pet to start out with in terms of reptiles, I would say a leopard gecko. It's the easiest thing to start out with in my opinion. You really don't have to learn too much, but at the same time, you're still learning to research and take care of an animal. Them and like ball pythons, you know, those are probably some good beginner ones. Crested geckos are great too. So I would be kind of on that range if you're starting out with reptiles. If you're starting out with fish, I would probably get betta fish. They are a lot easier than most fish. And if you're starting off with some pets, you could do mice, you could do gerbils, probably some hamsters. I wouldn't quite recommend rats. Rats do require a lot of time. Mice can as well, but I would say that they require less space than a rat would, so they're not quite as advanced. So, and same thing with a gerbil. Gerbils and mice and hamsters don't require a ton of space. You know, they don't require like this much space, but it's probably more like that much space. But it's not like a rat where you have to go out and get like the biggest cage you can possibly get. So I wouldn't really recommend rats as a first pet, but if you're really determined to do it, then go, by all means, just go ahead and do it. Just make sure you do as much research as possible here on the internet and prove that to your parents as well. And basically just keep up with everything. If these tips don't work, maybe you'll just have to eventually wait till you can move out and then start collecting pets. I mean, some parents just are not keen on the whole, you know, collecting pets thing, and if they absolutely won't budge after you tried a bunch of things, then, you know, honestly, just wait till you move out. It sucks, but, you know, you'll move out sooner than you think. You'll go to college, who knows, and then you can just have as much pets as you want. There's no limit, nothing. You get complete freedom. So there's always that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you were able to convince your parents after watching this, and let me know how it went. I'll see you guys later. Please subscribe and like this video. And I have one more announcement. I'm going to be on Younow tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. And I'm not sure what time it starts. I actually forgot. But I'll put an annotation right here. I'll put a big annotation right there letting you know the time and the date and everything. I'm going to be on Younow. That's the live stream, younow.com. And it's going to be fun. You guys can come over there if you want. There's still going to be people there anyways, most likely. But if you guys who are subscribed to me want to come and visit me there and see me there, I'll probably feature some pets there. And it'll be really fun. It'll probably be about 3 hours. But I'll see you guys later. Please subscribe. And bye!